Well, howdy friends, Brian Flechsig of Mad River Outfitters and the Midwest Fly Fishing Schools, and welcome back to another episode in one of our Q&A series. You know, I say this every time, but we really appreciate all the questions that you guys send in. It's really overwhelming. I want to make sure that we stress the fact that it needs to go to admin@madriveroutfitters.com. We're kind of old-fashioned. We communicate via email. I hear rumors that there's a lot of questions submitted on social media, and I have to admit I'm not a tweeter or Twitter type. I think I still have a MySpace page that I haven't been to in 20 years, much less Facebook. I think I'm on Facebook, I just don't go to Facebook. So I'm not a tweeter, not a Twitter, I'm not a twit, any of those things. So send them to email, and that way they get right here to the shop, okay? We're also fresh back from the Bahamas, ready for spring to kick in. Things are getting really exciting around here, so stay tuned. We got a lot of stuff coming at you. First thing off this week, I want to go back to, I think it was Q&A episode 12, and I just wanted to kind of clear the air. It was at 11. Thank you, Juanita. Appreciate that. It was number 11. This must be 12 or something like that. Anyhow, I had answered a question for Josh Mills, apparently from Montana. And by the way, Josh, if you are out there, we still need your address to send you the hat and the fly box. But Josh had asked, as a beginner, did it make sense for him to start to learn to tie flies in order to save money? And my answer was no, it really wasn't. It's going to be easiest and cheapest for him to go and buy a handful of flies and to get out and go fishing. Well, I think a lot of people thought that I was bad-mouthing fly tying, and it couldn't be further from the truth. I love fly tying. Certainly you've seen mine and our fly tying videos here. We have a huge fly tying department. It's a big part of our business. I'm not bad-mouthing fly tying, that's for sure. I love to tie flies. If you're a professional fly tyer, there are ways that you can save money, and you can tie flies that you can't buy in shops, and you can set yourself up if you're a guide or a professional tyer. Of course, there are ways that you can save money tying flies. But as a beginner, the context of the question was, as a beginner, did it make sense and would he save money right then and there? And I still think the answer was no for him. Go buy some flies at a fly shop and go fishing and worry about getting into tying flies later. I still do believe that in general, tying flies is really typically, for your average person, not a way to save money. My God, I spend ridiculous amounts of money on tying flies, and even considering ourselves professionals, and we probably don't save money. So anyways, just want to touch base on that. I'm not bad-mouthing fly tying. I love tying flies. So anyways, Josh, get with us, and we'll get you out the hat and the fly box. Joe Sinak. Joe from Imperial, Missouri. Joe says, Brian, first, thank you so much for all your... Still Joe. Thank you so much for all of your informative YouTube videos. I'm the first year of fly fishing, and you have helped take the frustration out and put the fun in fly fishing. Well, Joe, thanks. That's a great compliment. Question is for barb removal on flies. Everyone always says smash the barb, and myself included. I always smash the barb. When I use pliers to do that, it doesn't work that well. I can still feel it, and I don't think I'm doing it right. I was thinking a grinding tool, a file, or a Dremel tool to remove them. There has to be a better way, different pliers, or better tool to use. Well, Joe, I really don't think there is. I don't know if you're doing something wrong, but first of all, yes, I always crimp the barbs on flies, and that's primarily because of me. A lot of people will tell you that you're being nicer to the fish. You've heard me say this: if you want to be nice to the fish, don't go fishing. I do this because if I get that hook stuck in my finger or my ear or what have you, then I can back it right out and no harm, no foul. I'm not making a trip to the emergency room. So it's way more for me than it is the fish. And also, if you crimp that barb, you have a thinner diameter to penetrate a fish's jaw. So I always crimp the barbs, as do most of our guides around here. And I just use hemostats. Okay, you use your hemostats, what you have with you. You're going to come in, and what I do is come in sideways, okay, and just smash that barb. So you're not coming in this way. You could damage the point of the hook. Come in sideways like this and just press down on it. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, and yes, you still may feel it a little bit, but smashing it down with the hemostats is going to do enough so that if you do penetrate your skin or your jacket or something, you should be able to back it right out. For larger flies, of course, I use my pliers. Anytime I'm fishing for big game, even bass fishing, pike fishing, muskie fishing, saltwater fishing, I'm going to have a pair of pliers like these Hatch, and same kind of deal. I'm going to come in sideways, use the very tips of them, and I'm going to smash that barb as flat as I can get it. You're not going to get it perfect, but you should get it good enough to where it's going to back right out if it penetrates something that you don't want it to. So no, I don't think you need a grinding tool or a Dremel tool or anything like that. Get yourself a good pair of hemostats. They don't even need to be good. I mean, these are the Dr. Slick Ecos. They're $7, no big deal. Come in sideways, smash it, and I think you'll be fine. I wouldn't worry too much about it. So there you go, Joe. Thanks for the question. Appreciate that. And next, we have Ron Simon from King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. Ron says, hello again, Mad River crew. My router is down tonight and I can't get my YouTube fishing fix, but I did think of another question. I think it's really cool that I can be trout fishing all winter long. But I learned long ago in my skiing days that mornings in the Pennsylvania mountains can be, well, pretty brisk temperature-wise. And I guess that 7-degree air temps and 38-degree water can be pretty painful if you mix them together. That's true. I've seen some pretty interesting half-finger gloves with fold-over mitts that look like they might work out, but do you peel them off every time you need to handle a fish? Wet hands are good for the fish, very true, but for the fisherman, not so much. And if you stay gloved, aren't they soaked after one fish? Can you say frostbite? So what's the practical cold weather system to keep your hands functional, but still be able to cast, manage the line, and tie knots and handle and release fish? Well, Ron, I'm not sure I have a perfect solution for you. It's a conundrum, and I don't really have an answer, but I'll give it a try. First of all, you're right. These fold-over mitts are by far our best-selling gloves. Simms, of course, one of our sponsors and our #1 vendor here at the shop. Simms does make these fold-over mitts, which are great. They're fingerless gloves, and even the thumb pulls out, and these have these little snaps so you can snap the flap back. So now if you're tying knots and while you're fishing, you can still manage your line. That is really by far the best solution. And then when you need to warm your fingers and your thumb, you just fold it over. Everybody knows that mittens are the best case scenario and is going to trap the most heat. So you've got that mitt. This is the, I think they call it the Freestone Headwaters fleece. That's relatively inexpensive at $29.95. And then they make the Guide Wind Block, which is a much higher grade of fleece. They've got some water resistance to them. And same deal, fold over mitts, these things. These, believe it or not, these are expensive at $64.95, but they are by far our best-selling pair of gloves, no question, and for good reason. So same concept there. These are called the Guide Wind Block fold-over mitts. That's going to be the best case scenario for fishing. You've got the ability to warm your fingers up when you need to, but you're really going to have your fingers exposed if you're fishing. They do make these Kispiox glove, which are essentially waterproof. Okay, and they do have quite a bit of sensitivity. In fact, when we first got these in, I went up to the cash register and I was able to pull out a single dime with these. So you do have a lot of dexterity with these gloves. They've got the little texting thing there, of course, if you have to send a text while you're out on the river. But I can't fish in these. Okay, I just can't feel the line good enough. But there is kind of a solution there in those in the waterproof Kispiox gloves from Simms. But the scoop is that I think the big question is, do you need to take the gloves off when you're handling and releasing fish? And I would say yes. I just really don't see a way around that. Okay, I don't want to get these wet. If you get these wet, yeah, of course, fleece still is insulating when it's wet, but if it's that cold out and you say 7 degrees, I mean, one of my answers is probably don't go fishing when it's 7 degrees. But if it is, you certainly don't want wet hands and wet gloves. So yes, you're going to have to take those gloves off and handle the fish. And I do believe that it's going to be better for the fish anyways. You need to wet your hands so you don't remove that protective slime on the fish, and then put your gloves back on and fold that mitt over, warm your hands back up, and get back to fishing. So unfortunately, I don't have necessarily a great solution for you, but I think the best case scenario is by far the fold over mitts, and the sales here in the shop indicate that. A lot of other people feel that way also. So there you go, Ron. Thanks as always for your questions. Guys, we'll get you out the hat and the fly box first thing here. And as always, we appreciate the questions. Keep them coming to admin@madriveroutfitters.com. And as always, we appreciate you tuning in. Stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, and we've got a lot more coming at you, so don't go anywhere. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit subscribe. It helps out a lot. And check out these videos. We think you might like them too.